should all be doing so well.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, I would probably go more of the 10 inch or 11 inch.
This is just after the stand.
Good evening. Merry Christmas. Welcome to Theodore Parker Church. I'm Reverend Heather Concannon, the minister of this congregation, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all here tonight. Whether you arrive here this evening, however you arrive here, you are welcome here, whether you believe a lot or believe a little, whether you come carrying heavy grief or bursting with joy. We welcome you to an evening of contemplation, celebration, and joy. Before we begin, I have just a few things that you may want to know. Our congregation is now mask optional, and if you would prefer to wear a mask, this section is reserved for folks wearing masks. So if you would like to wear a mask around other people wearing masks, we may need to do some shuffling, and also if not, I think it's okay. We also have orders of service available today. If you did not get one, there is a QR code in your pews, and you can go ahead and scan it, and then you'll pull it up on your phone if you'd prefer to have it digitally, or you can grab one from, I think, either side, the front or the back, during the first carol. Our service is being recorded today and will be available on YouTube later. And we also welcome people of all ages to move about in the sanctuary during the service as you need to. There's also a cozy area up here to make yourself comfortable if you'd like to. At the end of the service, we'll be passing candlelight from person to person. So if you did not get a candle on your way in, our ushers will be standing right in the back during the first carol, and you can grab a candle from them right in the back underneath the clock during the first carol as well, so that you can participate. I want to say a special thank you to Joel, who's doing our camera today, and to Ruth, who is our Zoom usher, and all of the musicians and volunteers and light turners, honors and offers, and bell ringers, and all the other people who made this service possible tonight. So thank you so much. And if you're visiting us for the first time tonight, I invite you to stay in touch. There are connection cards in your pews in the pamphlets if you'd like to fill that out, and we will be in touch with you. And you're also warmly welcome to join us any Sunday morning at 10:30. And finally, a final reminder that next Sunday, December 31st, is our Quaker service of meditation and silence, followed by January 7th, a New Year's ritual of release and letting go of the old year. So you're warmly invited to join us for either or both of those. And now, as we continue the spirit of welcome, the spirit of Christmas, I invite you to offer your greetings to your neighbors and say good evening to one another. And now let us enter into the Christmas service as our choir leads us in O Come All Ye Faithful. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing. Your words are in your order of service and will also be up on the screen.
O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Cross the Lord. Lo, humble shepherds, to his cradle, leaving their flocks in the fields, draw near. Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exultation. Sing, all ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God, all glory in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord.
Thank you, Jennifer Buchwald, for ringing our bell this evening. Rose and Michael and I will now lead in our opening words. Welcome to this evening of mystery and stillness, a time when we gather to tell an ancient story and wonder what it might mean for our lives today.
We need the hope and promise of Christmas. At Christmas, we remember this.
Even in times of violence and empire and fear, there is rebirth. There is new life. There is hope. There is joy.
And we remember this, even as some would shut out the stranger, there are those who would make room in the stable, who offer hospitality, who celebrate the coming of a humble baby born to a poor immigrant.
And we remember this, that there is faith in following bright stars, even when we do not know where they lead.
And we remember this, that we are love's hands at work in the world. We are the dwelling place of the holy, called to shepherd a divine love into the world.
This Christmas, as we hear the angels proclaim, "Do not be afraid," we remember there is good news too. Love is born again and again. Welcome Christmas.
we kindle a small flame in the dark of the year, remembering the promise of life abundant, of a possible peace. We pause on this night of mystery to tell the stories, to sing the songs, and bring more light into the world.
Today marks the culmination of the season of Advent. In the Christian tradition, Advent is a time of preparation for the arrival of Jesus Christ into the world, and it is a time to reflect on what it means to be waiting. From its most ancient origins, Advent has been a time of expectation and preparation. And as Unitarian Universalists, during Advent, we ask, what are we waiting for and preparing for in our own lives and in the life of the world? We light candles each of the 4 Sundays in the season of Advent. On the first Sunday, we lit the candle of hope. And on the second Sunday, we lit the candle of peace. And on the third Sunday, Rose is going to fix it for us. Thank you, Rose. On the third Sunday, we lit the rose-colored candle that symbolizes the transition from contemplation to joy. And today, on the last Sunday, we light the 4th candle representing love. And on this, the eve of Christmas, we also light the center candle, the Christ candle, in representation of the perfect love available for all within each of us. And we celebrate the love that is the spirit of this season.
Our first reading this evening is the story of Jesus' birth, selected from the book of Luke. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered, and all went to their towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. Now in that region there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I bring you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told to them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart.
Please rise and sing with us.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. And by the light of that same star, 3 magi came from country far. To seek a king was their intent, and to follow the star wherever it went. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
You may be seated. We have a tradition here at Theodore Parker Church of taking time on this Christmas Eve service to name and celebrate the new life that has arrived among us in the past year. It's come to mean a lot to me on this night when people all over the world are celebrating the birth of one particular child through sacred song and story. In this community, we take time to remember that each child is holy. Every birth is sacred. Let us take in that alongside all of the loss and struggle and heartache of this year, new life, with all of its promise, has also arrived among us. If new life has joined your family or community this year, I'll be inviting you to speak those names aloud. Don't worry about talking over each other. The holy cacophony is welcome. If you're joining on Zoom, please write any names in the chat, and I'll read them aloud. I invite you now to speak the names of new life among us. Coral Noel Martin. We honor the gift of each new life.
Friends, I invite us into a space of prayer and contemplation. So I invite you to enter into that space with me. Take a deep breath, if that's comfortable. Make yourself comfortable in the pew or at home in your seat. And join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Holy One, known throughout human history by many names, Be present with us tonight as we seek to bring the spirit of Christmas into our lives. This Christmas, let us hear the voices of angels telling us not to be afraid, even though fear and anxiety creeps in. And this Christmas, let us seek out the wise ones who live with hope, who follow a bright star, a guiding light. And this Christmas, let us celebrate the shepherds who tend faithfully to their flocks year after year. And this Christmas, let us remember that each of us are miraculous manifestations of divine love. And this Christmas, may we remember to bring courage and wisdom and faith and love into our lives and into the world. May it be so, and amen. We will now have an offering that will be introduced by Mark Ferenz, a member of our board.
It is the practice at Theodore Parker Church to give 50% of the Christmas Eve service plate collection to a worthy cause that meets a need, that supports the values of Unitarian Universalism, and that has a connection with members of TPC. This year, given the heartbreaking loss of life and destruction in Gaza and Israel, the Executive Committee, with the advice of the Social Action Committee and members of the congregation, has selected 2 organizations that will work towards humanitarian aid, peace, and reconciliation between Israelis and Palestinians. The reason for selecting 2 rather than 1 organization is that there are a range of views among members of the TPC congregation and no time for a membership-wide decision-making process. The organizations selected are the Gaza Mental Health Foundation and the New Israel Fund. Each will receive 25% of the contribution. The Gaza Mental Health Foundation was formed in 2001 to help the people of Israel cope with the tremendous mental stress resulting from blockade and war. It is estimated that half of Palestinians in Gaza and 80% of the children suffer from mental health issues, including depression, sadness, and fear. One can only imagine how much worse it has become. The New Israel Fund is a U.S.-based organization that was formed in 1979 for social justice and equality for all in Israel-Palestine. It was formed to address many of the root causes of the decades-long conflict. This fund provides resources for many civil rights, democracy, and peace and social action organizations. These donations will be made in the memory of Diana Diggs. Diana is a member of our congregation, the late Diana Diggs. Diana worked tirelessly for justice in the Middle East. We ask you to be as generous as possible. Thank you.
Our reading tonight is The Risk of Birth by Madeline L'Engle. This is no time for a child to be born, with the earth betrayed by war and hate, and a comet slashing the sky to warn that time runs out, the sun burns late. That was no time for a child to be born. In a land in the crushing grip of Rome, honor and truth were trampled by scorn, yet here did the Savior make his home. When is the time for love to be born? The inn is full on planet Earth, and by a comet in the sky is torn, yet love still takes the risk of birth.
Friends, can I just start off by saying how good it is to be here with you this evening and how special it feels to be sharing this service together in community. Because in times when the world seems to be tearing apart, in times when we long for peace, but it feels further away than ever, in times when fascism and empire and militarism seem like they might just be winning, in these times I find that I need community more than ever. I need familiar readings and stories and songs, and the beauty of seeing one another's faces by candlelight, and reminders that there is love and hope to be found even in the hardest of times and even in the most unlikely of places. I've been wrestling with how to make sense of the Christmas story this year, as the place of Jesus' birth, the place that our carols sing about, is a place in crisis right now. And perhaps you have as well. As war rages in Israel and Palestine, as families still anxiously await for hostages to come home, as the death toll in Gaza surpassed 20,000 earlier this week, 70% of those estimated to be women and children, and Palestinian Christian leaders have unanimously decided to cancel Christmas in Bethlehem. And leaders show little regard for the sacredness of human life. I have wondered, how do we celebrate Christmas in these times? Because I think that sometimes all the carols and twinkling lights and the parties and the gifts can actually gloss over some of what I find most powerful about this story. I love them, don't get me wrong. I love the traditions and the parties and the gatherings. But I sometimes feel make the story itself feel tame or far away or picturesque. But the story of that first Christmas was anything but a tame story. Christmas was made for just such a time as this. Jesus' birth happened in a time of great fear, a time of empire and oppression under the reign of King Herod. And this story of the birth of a Palestinian Jew whose birth and whose ministry challenged a mighty empire and proclaimed a love so divine that we are still talking about it today. This is a powerful story. And to truly understand the world in which the baby Jesus was born, I want to talk about King Herod. King Herod was the ruler of Judea, a vassal state under the Roman Empire, and his power was very dear to him. After the Emperor Augustus had sent everyone to their hometowns to be taxed and registered, King Herod, the local king, heard that there was a baby being born nearby who was being referred to as the King of Kings. King of Kings? He was the king. This could not be tolerated. What did it mean that people are referring to this little baby as the newborn king? And why were people setting out to worship this child? How could a little baby threaten his power like that? And so King Herod sent 3 people from his court, who we refer to as many things, the 3 kings, the magi, the wise people. We'll stick with Magi tonight. He sent them to find this baby and bring back information. And he lied to the Magi, saying he wished to worship the baby too, but to send for him immediately when they found the baby. And so the story goes, those 3 Magi followed a mysterious star that led them to the place of Jesus' birth. But along the way, the Magi were warned in a dream of the king's lies and murderous intent. They were warned not to return to the king, but to go back a different way than they had come. And they fled the country and never told King Herod where the baby was. And when King Herod found this out, he was so angry that he ordered all of the baby boys in the region to be killed if they were found. So shortly after Jesus' birth, Mary and Joseph, who had also been warned in a dream, a very useful communication method, Mary and Joseph fled their homeland with their newborn son and lived as refugees in Egypt for the next several years. And it is into this scene, it is into this time of fear and domination, death and destruction, and into this scene comes a helpless little baby born in the most rustic of conditions to poor parents, some of society's most vulnerable. And friends, I find it to be such a powerful reminder that the first Christmas did not happen at a time of peace on earth. It did not happen in a time of goodwill to all. It was not against a beautiful backdrop into an easy context. It was in a time of violence and empire, a time of threat to the most vulnerable, a time of poverty for some and extreme wealth for others, a time of fear and anguish and ordinary, humble people trying to make do. It happened in a time when the power of empire threatened to crush the human spirit, and it sounds, in some ways, not so distant from our world today. But I think also that Christmas happens like this every year in some way or another, a stubborn reminder that in the midst of it all, hope and joy and love are born and reborn again and again. Our reading today from Madeleine L'Engle was written in 1973, and it begins with the lines, "This is no time for a child to be born, with the earth betrayed by love and hate." And it strikes me that this could have been written this year. It could have been written almost any year. And she reminds us that that was no time for a child to be born either into a land in the crushing grip of Rome. But it ends by asking, when is the time for love to be born? The inn is full on planet Earth, and by a comet the sky is torn, yet love still takes the risk of birth. And I wonder this year, what would it look like for love to take the risk of birth? What would it look like to hold the message of Christmas in a time of Herod, a time of fascism and violence and cruelty and militarism? Because the message that this baby would grow up to bring to the world was a message of being unwilling to reconcile ourselves to these horrors. It was a message of resistance to the systems of domination in which he lived. And he taught that there was a moral law that was greater than any of the laws of the land, any decrees given by kings. And in the midst of it all, somehow, Mary and the angels and the shepherds sang out songs of joy. And I am sure that in that stable that there were just beautiful moments of tenderness and awe and love and peace and joy. And I wonder sometimes, what was the joy that they were feeling? Was it a sense of joy in realizing that we can sever our allegiance to empire and instead affirm our allegiance to love? Or was it joy in knowing that even in the midst of the reign of a cruel king, babies are still born and their parents and others gather around their cradles to shower them with love and to hold so much hope for what their life might become? Or was it a sense of joy that recognizes that love is always a risk, no matter when we share it? yet it is also the only thing that will save us. So this Christmas, I am remembering these truths, and I invite you to as well. That Christmas always comes in a time of Herod, and that over and over and over again in our lives and in the world, love still takes the risk of birth. And we are called to care for it with tender hope and stubborn love and imperfect joy, because we know that these are the things that will save us. May it be so, and amen. Friends, we are transitioning into our candle lighting tradition, our candle lighting ritual, and our ritual of sharing our gifts of love and hope with one another. And this candle lighting ritual has been a tradition in New England Unitarian Universalist congregations for more than 100 years. And it reminds us that our hope and our love and our joy can light the flames of another, and that together our flames are so much brighter than any one flame on their own. So we will take the light from our chalice here and pass it throughout the congregation, person to person, as we sing together Silent Night. And once all of the candles are lit, we'll have several moments to meditate on the light together. And if you are joining us on Zoom this evening, if you have a candle at home, please go ahead and light it as we begin singing. And a gentle reminder for all of us to prevent wax drips and other fire hazards is to always keep a lit candle upright, and if you are lighting the candle, to tip it into the lit flame. So lit goes upright, lighting it goes sideways. So as we dim the lights, our ushers will come forward to help us pass the flame. Let us stay seated, or let us rise and sing together Silent Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glories stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing Alleluia. Sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, child of God, love's pure light, radiant dreams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Let's sing verse 1 again. Silent silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Friends, I invite us to take a few moments to draw our attention toward the candles in our hands as we share a few words of meditation on this light. As we meditate on this small light in the darkness, let us remember the blessings that take root in the dark. Each new baby, our own dreams, seeds waiting to grow. Our lives depend on the cycles of sacred darkness and holy light. This Christmas Eve, let this light, this spark, represent hope. Tender, expectant, doubtful hope, just as Mary and Joseph hoped for their child's future, just as parents all around the world and throughout time hope for their children. Just as people across the world have held on to hope even in the hardest of times, let this light be your hope tonight. And let this light represent peace, that peace that is made in the struggle for justice, that peace that comes not through King Herod's decrees, but from a tiny baby, a poor carpenter, a teacher and a prophet who loved people more than power. Let this be your peace tonight. And let this light represent joy, that imperfect, complex, defiant joy of living in an imperfect, complex, broken world. Let it represent the joy of angels singing, "Do not fear," and "Hark, a great light has been born into the world." Let it represent the joy of human connections and the joy of knowing that we are each whole and holy and beloved. And finally, let this light represent love this season. A holy love, a divine, perfect love, a love so powerful it would move heaven and earth. A reminder that the holy dwells inside each and every one of us. And this Christmas, let us pause to remember for a moment the many, many miracles of Christmas. That love and holiness are found in human form, that we rest in the space of peace and joy and hope and love. And now I invite us to raise our candles once again and to look around at the beauty of our love and our light shared. And breathe in this hope and this peace and this joy and this love. And let it surround you. And when you are ready, I invite you to extinguish your candle either by blowing it out or there's sand provided, and join in singing our final hymn as we turn on the lights again, Joy to the World.
Joy to the world, the earth is come. Let earth with praises ring. Let every heart prepare a room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven Joy to the earth, now gladness reigns. Let hearts their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders, wonders of his love.
Friends, we close with these words from Howard Thurman. You may be seated, but they're very short. It's titled The Work of Christmas. When the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and the princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the people, to make music in the heart. Merry Christmas and go in peace. I invite you to leave. Merry Christmas. I invite you to leave your candles in the baskets at either entrance and have a wonderful evening.
He has a gap year.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah. But I think it'll be alright. Yeah. Is it working? He's working with a scientist. What that is kind of interesting. They're about to publish a paper. Oh. That's great. About what?